Welcome in, everyone, and I'm so glad that you're here. We're going to talk about insulin resistance this morning. This may be a short one, and why I wasn't here Monday, for those of you who follow me, I'm going to be really vulnerable right now. I've been having some more symptoms related to my heart that have had me not feeling very well. So I had to take a couple of days. I just wasn't feeling well enough in the morning to go live. And this morning was starting another one, but I thought I better go live for a little bit. And actually, this is the perfect time to do it, even though I don't know how long I'll be able to be live. I want to talk about this. So, how many of you guys have either uncontrolled hypertension or know someone who has uncontrolled hypertension? And that's a blood pressure of 130 over 80 or higher. I worked in medical offices for years and I knew the numbers and I knew where mine were at 180 over 150 every day. And I should have known. Well, I did know, but I went to multiple doctors and I wasn't getting answers. So, or getting relief from the blood pressure, just kept getting more pills. So, and the blood pressure wasn't going down. And my primary care physician was terrified. We were friends, and she was worried. She's like, "We've got to get this under control." But all of the traditional wisdom, all of the stuff that she had been taught, all of the research that she was doing, just kept giving me more pills, but my blood pressure wasn't getting better. So, does anybody is and it doesn't have to be blood pressure. Look at the list up above. There could be a number of things going on. Maybe you have weight that won't come off. Maybe you have anxiety and depression a lot. Maybe you're hungry all the time. Maybe you're starting to have thyroid issues, or your hormones are out of whack, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. All of those things in that list are linked to insulin resistance. So, do you see yourself on the list at all? Because almost everyone who hops in sees themselves on there somewhere. And yet, if you're like me with my heart, you're not getting enough answers from the physicians with the traditional knowledge that's out there or that has been out there. Now, there's a number of scientists who've been working on this area called metabolic health, and insulin resistance is highly, highly, very highly at the root of all of those metabolic disorders. They're also starting to understand that almost all of the disorders that we suffer from today that are lifestyle related, which all of these are, insulin resistance is the root cause. So, as brilliant as my physician was, and as high a hella, high of esteem as I hold her in, she didn't know about insulin resistance. They're not taught about it in school. They're not told how to treat it. They're not counseled on what real nutrition is. And so it's getting missed. So again, brain fog, fatigue, fibromyalgia, PCOS, it's not just heart. I'm here this morning talking about heart. One of the reasons I share so much about the system that I talk about is because as I laid in bed this morning trying to decide whether I was going to be able to get up and do this live or not, I kept having the recurring feeling like, had I not found the protocol 3 years ago, I don't know if I would have that choice today. What's happening today is downline from years and years of hypertension and other disorders that were not addressed by my physicians, and I wasn't I wasn't getting better. So there's a toll on the body for this not getting insulin resistance addressed. It's costing lives, it's costing quality of life, and a lot of people are feeling like they're stuck. So one of the calls I had yesterday, I always have one thing that just really stands out for me, but this young lady, when I met her, she was convinced that this was not going to work. She had tried everything. She had been to multiple doctors. She had multiple issues going on. She had a big swollen face. She had some edema throughout. She had skin disorders. She had energy and clarity disorders, and she couldn't lose weight. And she was struggling. And that there's more to her story than that. But her mom started the protocol, and then said, you know what, I think this is gonna, this sounds like a good thing for my daughter. And so I talked with the daughter, the mom talked with the daughter. Begrudgingly, she started the system. The first month, she wasn't convinced that anything was going to happen. But yesterday, I got a call from her. The swelling from the cortisol is all gone from her face. Those darkened and thick patches of skin that were just really hard patches of skin are gone. Um, her energy is up. Her mental clarity is up. She's lost 15 pounds. She had been trying to lose weight for years, PCOS, right? And she was just thrilled and shocked that this protocol actually worked for her. So it's the same thing that reversed my hypertension, my diabetes, and just got me to have a quality of life again. Now, again, what I'm dealing with today is downstream from years and years of nobody addressing insulin resistance. Not one of the doctors that I went to for multiple things, and I think I have to look at the list again, but unless it's a male disorder, everything that was on that list I had. My hair was falling out. My eyesight was failing. My teeth and gums were bleeding horrendously every time I brushed my teeth. I had dark skin patches and skin tags. And so I bet that my doctors were just inundated with all this stuff. My joints were failing. I had edema and neuropathy. I bet they were just overwhelmed with all of the things that are going on. But Dr. Bickman, the guy who wrote this book, and if you're curious, you guys get the book. Um, and I have to get on it. So the publishers of this book have reached out to me and said either this book or the companion book, How Not to Get Sick, I get to give one of these away free. So anybody who buys this month, the protocol, which Dr. Bickman was one of the scientists who developed this protocol, will get a book free from the publisher, whichever one you want, and I'll announce that later this month. So there's that. You guys, it's a great book, but in his book, he details all of these things and how they're related to insulin resistance. This man studies fat cells in a petri dish every single day in his lab, and he is the reason I got better. The protocol is the reason I got better. But again, he helped develop it. So it's just, it's not just. So it's a tea I have in the morning. You don't see me drinking it this morning yet. And then a tea I have again in the afternoon, and a pre-meal drink. I particularly have this every time I eat. I'm in the middle of a 36 and 12 fast right now. I'm still doing the full protocol every day. So I do this even when I'm not eating, because this doesn't break my fast, this doesn't break my fast, this doesn't break my fast. I do fasting to help my to help my heart, to help my liver. So Lori Bosworth, are all you have to do is order in September, and I will go through all of the orders, and we'll do a drawing, and then whoever is that comes out of that drawing, I will contact the publisher, and you'll get to tell me which book you want, whether it's the How Not to Get Sick. So let's talk about the books really quick. This one has been my insulin resistance Bible. You see all my tabs and stuff in here. He goes over heart disease. He goes over liver and kidneys and hormones and all the stuff. He gives a lot of really good information about nutrition and medications in here. This is, to me, indispensable. I love this book. This book, though, he got together with a nutritionist, and they created this book where he briefly goes over some of the issues with insulin resistance and the methods, like control your carbohydrates. And he talks about that in here, and then gives you not only nutrition and recipes, but exercises that you can do that are good for insulin resistance to help you become more insulin sensitive. So you get to choose which one of those you want. Just all you have to do is order in September. The rep reached out to me again yesterday and asked how it's going. So that will be the goal. October 1st, we'll take a look at everybody who's ordered in September, and we'll do a drawing. So if you want the book, that's all you got to do is just, if you're already a customer, just make your order this month. If you're not a customer, talk to me and see. So the young gal I was talking about earlier, um, she's now convinced she's going to do this every day because when every doctor failed her, she works at home because she wasn't physically fit enough to go work in a job outside of the home. And she now has hope. She now has starts to feel more normal. And so it's not just the physical shift, you guys, it's the emotional and mental shift that happens when you start to feel better. So why the system and what's insulin resistance? Let's stop and talk about that really quick. Insulin resistance happens from a number of things. So lack of sleep is one, and I want to talk about that in a minute. But stress and injury are two of the things that will also cause inflammation, injury, inflammation that the body creates from that injury, and then stress. And lack of sleep is huge with stress. Those are two things that can cause insulin resistance that have nothing to do with excess sugar. So we need to understand that those two things that are happening more and more, combined with all of the excess glucose that we're eating, are why we're having such a pandemic of insulin resistance. But insulin has its role in regulating the sugars in your body. More than 1 teaspoon of that glucose in your system starts to become really damaging. So when that happens, the body cues you to make insulin. That insulin carries that energy to the cells and has like a key. It's a receptor site on every cell that opens up the cell and allows the energy to come in. But in the presence of eating, you guys, we do not need to be snacking. If there's one thing that I can say today that's going to change your insulin resistance without you doing anything else, stop snacking. Stop eating every 2 hours and control your carbohydrates. You guys, those are the biggest clues that you can have to start getting your insulin resistance under control. The protocol I use helps me in a tremendous way, and I'll share with you why. Because I tried to stop snacking for years and I couldn't. Um, Low energy, my body just perceived that it needed energy. My brain perceived that it needed energy. That cues us to be hungry, and then we eat. And then I have ADHD, so I have impulse control issues. Then we eat. But one of the biggest clues is stop snacking. We don't need it. When your kid gets home from school and wants a bag of chips, they don't need it. They don't need it. They can wait till dinner and they can have real food, and that's going to help them in the long run much more than anything else you could do. But it applies to us too. When we're having that Snickers bar, that bag of chips, that whatever we're stopping off to grab to fulfill that need that we have, we're causing our insulin to spike every day, multiple times a day, and then it gets trained to stay high. And at that point, you have insulin resistance where not all the cells are utilizing insulin, getting energy into the cells properly. Some are just not getting energy in, some are getting too much energy in, and then there's some that just act right, right? But that's insulin resistance. It's a whole spectrum, a spectrum of things that's happening. And people always get confused linking insulin resistance and diabetes. I always say diabetes is just end stage insulin resistance. When the body no longer responds to insulin in the way that can help control the sugar, it becomes diabetes. How does that happen? When all these cells are doing all of these things, not taking in enough, taking in too much, whatever, but there's still sugar in the system. Does anybody have a clue as to where that glucose goes when the rest of the cells can't utilize it? Do you know where that's at? Type a 1 in if you think you know where that's at. Where does the body put that extra glucose when it's in excess of um, what the cells can use? Do you know? Okay. It's your fat cells, you guys. Your fat cells. That glucose starts to get stored in your fat cells. Some people are going to show up with diabetes quicker than others because of there is a difference in our fat cells, and not all of us do our fat cells respond the same way. So some people's fat cells get over full too quick. And so they may not be extremely heavy, but their A1C and their blood glucose is high because insulin can't store that and it's having a hard time regulating. So the fat cells, when insulin cannot get energy in anywhere else, it starts putting it in the fat cells. But the fat cells want to survive too. So when they get to a certain point, they're like, either I can't take in anymore, so they're kind of shutting down, or they're like passive aggressive. I'm just going to spill this blood sugar back out and, insulin, do your thing, but go away, right? So now the glucose in your bloodstream is staying high because all the other cells are in disarray and now the fat cells are full too. Now it's showing back up in your bloodstream and now you're considered diabetic. So we have thin diabetics and we have extremely obese diabetics, and that just depends on how your fat cells are in your body. Some people have fat cells that are hyper hyper hypertrophy hypertrophic, so they just grow. But when they get to that stage of growth that they're done. And so we see it in different ethnicities where people are or somewhat thin, but their fat cells are full and now they're tipped over into diabetes. We have some people whose fat cells can replicate. So if you've been told that your fat cells, you have the same fat cells that you had when you were born and they just get bigger or smaller, that's a lie. I was at a doctor's office and they had something about that playing, and I was like, I can't believe that you're still spreading this lie to people, because in fact, some of us have fat cells that actually replicate. So there's more places for insulin to put that sugar. You're getting heavier, but your blood sugars aren't going up. Doesn't mean you're not insulin resistant. If you're insulin resistant, if you're putting weight on, you're likely insulin resistant. So that is where all of that weight is coming from. So the weight part of this is a side effect of getting the insulin under control or the insulin being out of control. So why do we have so many people who are getting such great results with weight? Because they're getting their insulin under control. And that's happening by doing the protocol, getting fiber first before they eat, every time they eat, prioritizing protein, not fearing healthy fats, the omega-3 fats. Thank you, Bodacious. I see you. Thank you. Um, so fiber, protein, and fats, then limit your carbs. A bunch of my team is doing no sugar September. I'm not, but maybe we'll do that another month, but limit your carbs. That doesn't mean you can't have them. It means if you're going to have carbs, try to stay away from the bagged, boxed, bar-coded carbs. We all know what those are, right? And try to eat more leafy or dark green vegetables as your carbs. So yes, fruits and vegetables are carbohydrates. And then you want to do some intermittent fasting, allow the insulin to come down and be normal, and move your body. A couple of interesting tips that I kind of knew, but sometimes like there's so much information to talk about, I forget to say some things. So I was watching a, a, a sports expert who's also a scientist talking about what's better for you, running or an incline walk. Do you guys know? So running is number one, or an incline walk is number two. Which one helps you become more insulin sensitive, running or an incline walk? One or two? Can you guys type that in for me? What do you think? What's going to help you lose weight and get more insulin sensitive, running daily or doing an incline walk? Does anybody have a guess? Lori, that's a great guess. Anybody else? Is it running or two? So Bodacious and Lori, you guys are right. It's two. So what we want is not necessarily a high heart rate. We want a low, steady heart rate. So if you're looking at, and the other piece of this is your legs are one of the most active, largest muscle groups in the body. The more active you can make those legs at that lower heart rate, with the incline, so it's not just about a walk, it's an incline, making those legs and glutes work, that's going to help you become more insulin sensitive. Do you have to go and stand on the treadmill, run your heart out for an hour? No, actually there's also science that shows that that type of cardio is actually damaging to the heart. So this slow, steady, a little bit of stress like incline walk is the best way that you can become insulin sensitive, outside of weight bearing exercise. And I'm not talking about bench pressing 200 pounds. I'm talking about adding a few extra weights to your day. So maybe you put a backpack on with some weight in it and go for a walk that includes some incline. Now you're becoming more insulin sensitive as those muscles open up and say, hey, I need that energy. Does it mean you need to eat before the walk? No, you don't. When I was, so a lot of, some of you know, some of you don't. I was a world champion power lifter, 4 world championships I won and set records in. I trained fasted almost every day. My workouts went better. I had less fatigue when I was fasted than if I did the have a banana before you work out, whatever. All you're doing is spiking your insulin and preventing your body from utilizing fat and other resources. So I train fasted all the time. But for us, uh, when we eat, we need to exercise afterward a little bit. Um, And there's some confusion in that. Do you need to go exercise right away? No. Actually, studies have shown that if you wait about 30 minutes and then do that slow incline walk, that's the better time. Why? Because as you eat, it takes about a half an hour for that stuff that you just ate to start being digested enough for it to start being turned into glucose and hit the small intestine where it can actually get to the muscles. So, if you want your muscles to use up the glucose, exercising before the glucose is created in your system is not the best time. Wait about a half hour after you eat before you exercise. And then within about 2 hours after you eat is when you want to exercise. Go for that walk. Do a little bit of weight bearing stuff. One of the things that I really like personally is the little shake plates that get you moving. And I do a lot of exercises on the shake plate when I use it. So do that. Half an hour to 2 hours after you eat. Wait for that long before you start exercising. Allow that glucose to be starting to be delivered into your system, and then allow that glucose to go into your muscle cells, which is what's supporting you in the first place. We don't need it in all the other fat cells that we're storing it in currently. So we're going to recap: fiber, protein, fats, limit your carbohydrates, do some time-based eating, and move your body. Time-based eating. So normally we talk about a 16-8 fast. What that means is the first part of those numbers, every time I say those numbers, are the time you're fasting. So for 16 hours, we're not eating. That's all fasting is. We're just not putting food in our face. That's all fasting is. Then during an 8-hour period, I'm allowed to eat. Now, why? Again, I just don't want to spike my insulin all day. I can get the nutrients I need in those 8 hours in 2 good meals. I can get all the protein, all the fats that I need, and slow down the insulin. I'm doing a 36 and 12 fast all month. So for me, that looks like 36 hours of fasting, a 12-hour eating window. Um, and why am I doing that? Because between hour 16 and hour 36, the body still starts ramping up all of this cleanup, autophagy, cellular turnover that's going on in my body. Because I've had so much damage from long term insulin resistance that nobody talked to me about till I found the protocol, I'm taking extra steps, especially because my heart's been struggling. So, and that kind of fasting, that 36-12, is really good for your heart. There's a lot of misconceptions about fasting out there. Our bodies were built for it. It's what we should be doing, but we haven't been. And it's why we're sick, because we're gluttonous. We're gluttonous. I was. So on the 36 and 12 fast, today is a 36-hour fasting day for me. So in a little while, I'll have the tea. When I'm done with that tea this afternoon, I'll have another tea. I try to have mine between 2 and 4 so I still sleep well. And then um, I will have my fiber at some point during the day. Sometimes 1, but sometimes 2. And why? This helps my ketones go up. It helps my gut microbiome get healthier during this process of starving the negative gut microbiome. I'm feeding the positive. It does not spike my insulin, so it helps me with the fast as far as we are concerned. So Stella says, how long have I been doing the 36 and 12? Stella, I did it last spring for a full month. Felt amazing afterward. Today is day 7. So I've had 3 days of fasting. Or is it day 6? Day 6. No, it is 7. Sorry. This is my 4th day of fasting for this month. And then Thursday will be my 4th day of a fed day. It's actually fairly easy. For me, it's easier. So here's the thing with ADHD and some of the other things, I have, and I talk about this a lot, I have impulse control problems. One of the things I love about the 36-12 fast, outside of the fact that it's doing so much for my 60-year-old body as far as skin, heart, liver, kidneys, it helps me with that impulse control. I have enough. I was a competitor. I have enough in me to be like, okay, I'm just not eating today. And every time I want to break that, I'm just like, just wait. You can have whatever you want tomorrow. Okay. So the 36 and 12 fast is actually much easier for me. I have a couple of other friends who suffer with ADHD as well, and they've reported that they have more mental clarity, they have more energy, but their energy is leveled out when they're fasting. Sugar is one of the harmful things for us with ADHD. Sugar is addictive. Sugar is just really, really not good for us. Do we all love it? Yes, we do. But we shouldn't be eating much of it. So, yeah, the 36-12 fast really helps me. Do I think everyone needs to do that? No. But here's the thing with the time based eating, even that 16-8 I talk about is a recommendation for more than 80% of the people. A 16-8 is going to be great. Some people like to do OMAD. I don't like to do OMAD. There's science out there that says between a 16-8 OMAD and 36-12. 16-8 is the one that works the best for people as far as every day. 36-12, if you're trying to really get that cellular turnover and drop some weight, that's going to be the best one for you. But that 24-hour, only one meal, I was listening to Dr. Mindy Pels and a couple of other doctors talk about that the OMAD is the least favorable of those three. Okay. So better than OMAD would be to do the 36 and 12. Better than OMAD would be to just fast for 16 hours and have 2 meals in that 8-hour window. And the meals just need to be 4 hours apart. So you want to increase your fasting during the 16-8, maybe make it a 20 and 4, maybe make it an 18 and 6. Just give your body the rest from insulin resistance, structure your meals so that they're happening in that time window, and stop the snacking. Now, yesterday, I have a little personal aha moments, but my day, I'm not gonna lie. I had a couple of small, those mini donuts yesterday, midday. But for breakfast, what I had was about 5 boiled eggs in a sauce that I created at home that was low or no sugar, and I like that. Yesterday, I did it with an Alfredo sauce, and it was good, but not as good as the one with whole cream and butter and spices. So that's what I'll have tomorrow morning when I break the fast. I already have the boiled eggs ready, and then that's what I'll eat. High in protein, high in fats, low in sugar. Now, when you break a 36 or a 16-hour fast, that's what I'm going to say is have those protein-filled foods first when you break your fast. Fats also, if you start eating with fats, they don't really spike your insulin. So now you're keeping the insulin levels low, and that's really helpful. Have your carbohydrates maybe on your second meal. Let your body understand that we're really training it to use protein and fats for you're very, very welcome, Stella. Um, you want your body to understand how to use protein and fats. So I started my day with the eggs. Later on, I had there was some of those mini donuts, not a handful or so of them. And then for dinner, I had I had hamburger, right? With a little bit of no nitrate ham, an egg, and some cheese. Um, the hamburger, you guys, I never buy the lean stuff because we want the natural animal fats with the animal product. When you cut the fat off the meat, you're harming yourself in how protein is synthesized and builds in your body. Your cellular membranes, including your muscle cells, are built up out of that fat. When we restrict the fat, then we're restricting the strength of your cellular membrane together. So fats are important for us, but the right kind of fats. Okay. So I hope that's helpful. Now I lost track of where I was going because I just did. So you guys, I've been on here way longer than I thought I would, but I want to share this with you, Stella, everyone else that's in here, and understand. All I did to reverse everything on that list was the system and why. So we're going to talk about the why of the system. You know a little bit about insulin resistance, what happens, and why I'm able to do the 36 and 12 fast. Oh, that was what I wanted to say. Before I get into the product, I want to say there was one day, the second day, that I was actually more hungry on the fast than I was on the first day. So I'm thinking about it like why, what happened, what changed? Well, I had more carbohydrates on my fed day than I normally have, which set me up to be hungrier the next day. Focus on those proteins and fats. You're going to stay satiated more, you're going to have less of the cravings, and you're going to have less breakthrough hunger. You'll notice when you start throwing carbohydrates in, you're going to start having increased hunger. So, am I saying you can't have them? Again, no. But be careful with the kind of carbohydrates you're eating and how much of them you're eating. Focus on the proteins and fats. So now, the 36 hours today, I'll have this in the morning, I'll have this in the afternoon, I'll have at least one of these. I actually had one this morning because I was having such severe nausea. And this shuts down the nausea in my stomach. So I can do it during my fast. It actually will increase my own ketone production during fasting. And it cuts that nausea for me, which is crazy, a crazy benefit of it. But I never mind because instead of doing Tums that are tearing down my system, instead of doing any of that, I do this fiber that shuts down my hunger, shuts down my nausea for me. And the other goal of this is it's specific fibers, 7 different soluble and insoluble fibers that really help reduce insulin spikes by reducing the glucose spike. This can reduce a glucose spike by up to 37%. 37%. And that's on a high, like on a waffle breakfast. It will reduce, so that's a big glucose spike. But this will reduce that spike by 37%. Now you're getting better, right? Now, even when you have those burger with a bun and not taking the bun off your burger, you can help with this. I have one friend who says he does 2 of these every time he eats because he loves his carbohydrates. So he just does 2 of these every time he eats. So this shuts down the sugar spike. It has heart healthy components in it. It has vitamins and minerals in it. They're all designed to help with your metabolism. And this guy had a play in producing this product. So also this product. This one was made to be a mental health tool. But about 4 years ago, they put it together with the balance and realized the magic that it does for your metabolism. So when we talk about GLP-1 or glucagon-like peptide 1, which is helping people become more insulin sensitive and lose weight, right? So you've all heard about Ozempic and all the actors who are trying to hide the fact that they're just taking shots to lose this weight. And we know that they're doing this drug. I do a lot of talks about GLP-1. GLP-1 is actually really healthy for the body in its natural form, in the form that your body produces it by itself, okay? Those GLP-1 drugs can minimally increase your GLP-1 by about 35%. But what they're doing is they're giving you a big hit of synthetic GLP-1 that doesn't break down in the body. That's why you can take an injection once a week. And that not breaking down in the body and staying consistent in the body starts to cause harm. Our bodies are not meant to have the light switch turned on all the time in anything. So this product, one of these will increase my own GLP-1 by about 70%. My own GLP-1 by about 70%. So it gives me mental energy and clarity. It doesn't give me jitters. There's a little bit of caffeine in it, but that chlorogenic acid gives me the same thing that's giving me the mental energy and clarity is what's eliciting that GLP-1 that's shutting down hunger in my brain, shutting down hunger in my gut, allowing me to get through the fast. So now during a fast, when I am hungry, I'll have one of these. If I don't feel like I've been relieved from it, because I have an acidic stomach, so sometimes my brain gets funky between what's pain and what's hunger, right? I'll just have one of these. My hunger now is shut down. I'm good. I'm fasting. I'm doing great. Then in the afternoon, if I feel like I need more energy, I'll have another one. All of them are natural, gluten-free, halal. Um, and so this is just stevia, a little bit of citric acid, and yerba mate in a very highly concentrated form. These have been proven to work for this issue. So if you are interested in the protocol on YouTube, Facebook, you'll see my number across the bottom. Just text me. If you're on uh, if you're on TikTok, just go to my profile, tap on my profile. Right under my picture in the profile, there's some red light symbols and a link. Go there. That's going to take you to where you can buy this product. Now, I lasted way longer than I thought. You guys, when I sat down, I thought, man, if I make it a half hour, I'm going to be good. I am going to go lay down after this because of the heart. So what I want to talk about now is um, if you're struggling with your health and you see yourself on that list and you see yourself, especially if you see yourself in more than one thing on that list, you're insulin resistant. And the best thing you can do for your health, for your family to not have to be concerned about you, to just have quality of life again, is get your insulin under control. And this was what I found after every doctor, nutritionist, gym bro, all failed to be able to understand what was happening to me and help me. Okay. So yes, I've lost 3 joints. I've lost my gallbladder and my heart is damaged because of long-term insulin resistance nobody ever addressed until I found this system. And I didn't even know why it was working so well. So I had to start doing some research to figure it out. Because at that point that I started, I didn't care. And so some of you guys are like that too. I don't care about all the science. I just want something that works. Well, it's natural. It's feeding your body good stuff. I said this in the video last night. I'm going to say it again. I used to say it's putting back what's been stripped out. No, it's putting back what the food industry has stolen from you. Okay. It's stolen nutrients from you. It's stolen fiber out of your food. It's stolen enzymes out of your food. It's stolen proteins out of your food in the manufacturing process, in the process of genetically modifying it so that it can be bigger and better, sweeter, and juicier for you. It's stolen nutrients from you. And what the system is doing is putting nutrients back so your body can do the job that it's supposed to do. And if we're giving our body the right kind of fuel and the right support, it will do everything it needs to do. And that's those reports that I get back from the young lady yesterday who said, she never thought she would find something that helped. The doctors had given up on her. She had given up on her, and she's just so happy now. And what she told me yesterday is that she'll be doing it the rest of her life because it's changing everything for her when no one else could help. So just and look, if you guys just want to ask me more questions, just text me. My WhatsApp number is in that link as well. So you guys, the system is changing so many lives. I am doing better about getting stories up about some of the stories that are coming in. But understand, it's not just me. We have doctors, neurologists, oncologists, cardiologists, neurologists, endocrinologists who are all using the system, pharmacologists who are all using the system and have realized that it really works. We have some pharmacists who are like, this, the action in this is better than any of the drugs that they have studied and are passing out because of doctor's orders. This is natural, not damaging your body. It is in the prescriber's digital reference, so those pharmacists can look this up and see. So can your doctor, but it's real food. It's really helping, and it can help with all of those things. Now, normally I talk about some of the links to insulin resistance so you guys can understand why you're sick and why insulin resistance really is the pathway, or getting more insulin sensitive is the pathway to getting better. So if there's something you want me to talk about um, on Friday, let me know. I would love to bring the science together and help you guys with that. But in the meantime, why are you guys why I don't know. I have ADHD, so I have impulse control. The minute I saw the protocol, the minute I heard people talking about it, I was like, I need that. I spent 5 days messaging, like, how can I get this? I need this. This has got to change my life, because I don't like medications. And I had 13 of them 3 years ago, not any of them now. Some people want to hang out and think about it for a minute. I get that. But what I want you to think about is it has a 90-day money back guarantee. You get coaching, you get a quality guarantee, you get the same price as that I pay for it. And that 90-day money back guarantee means you get to try it for 90 days. And just like the young gal I talked to yesterday, she didn't want to do it. Her mom, and she's in her 30s, but her mom, being the loving mom that she is, said, I need you to try this, honey. I need you to try this. I think this could work. And now she's seen that it works, and her life is changing because of it. So when are you going to start changing your life? And when are you going to start giving yourself the ability to be healthy now? Because if you wait, you could end up like me. Lost gallbladder, 3 joints, 2 hips, and 1 knee are gone. My eyesight was damaged. My heart was damaged. Don't wait till it gets to that point. Hey, Dale, don't wait. Just start now. You have a 90-day money back guarantee to help you get started, and you get coaching, and it's the best thing you can do for your health, in my estimation. It really is, because I tried everything else, you guys. I did veganism, I did keto for years, I did the medical medium. I bought all the specialty weird stuff. I'm going to tell you, buying all the blueberries and the kale and the berberine and all the stuff that I was buying to put in these green shakes that were eh, eh, cost me more than this cost me. And I don't have to worry about, if I'm traveling, how do I get those green shakes in? If I'm traveling, how do I do all the stuff I need to do? This fits in my purse, fits in my carry-on. I'm good to go. Mix it in some water. I'm done. And my blood pressure is now 112/70 every morning. No blood pressure medications. And yeah, so it works. All right, you guys, I will see you on Friday. By the way, those of you who've caught the 10-minute talks with me at night, I'm going to shift that till the afternoon. One of the issues, I think, that why my heart is starting to be cranky at me again, is because I've been going live at 11 o'clock at night, which means my sleep window is narrowed down. So the last thing I want to talk to you guys about has nothing to do with money, but everything to do with you. Get better sleep. Go to sleep earlier, sleep longer. It's going to help your heart. It's going to help your insulin resistance. Okay. Sleep is extremely important in becoming insulin sensitive. So you know who you are. If you're somebody like me who's up scrolling all night, I have a thing for learning. So I'm constantly flipping between business stuff and insulin resistance stuff and painting and whatever, but I just can't seem to shut my brain off. And then I start to have problems and wonder why. You've got to get sleep, guys. I don't talk about that in the 6 simple tips, but sleep is so important. And if you are not getting enough sleep, you're causing more inflammation in your body. You're causing a rise of cortisol. You're causing your insulin to spike because of those things. Get some good sleep on top of the other things I mentioned. That will get you on the road to becoming more insulin sensitive and healthier overall. Okay, we'll see you guys Friday. Thanks for hanging out this morning.